In the process of letting go, you will lose many things from the past, but you will find yourself. So you'll have to bear with me today. I wasn't sure how to structure this video, so I actually have a few talking points that I wanted to discuss with you today. So I did jot them down. So if this feels a little bit more scripted today, it's for that reason. But I really just wanted to make that transparent as we're going through this video. And by the way, I'm very aware of the breakouts that are currently on my face. Using a new soap. I don't know what's going on. It's crazy. Um, that being said, uh, today in particular, I really wanted to touch upon the subject of really letting go and why the sooner you're able to learn how to let go, the better you will be. And, you know, we're brought into this world and we create so many wonderful memories with the people that we come into contact with. Our family members, in particular, are the first memories most of us will have, followed by friends, followed by relationships, experiences. And every human will experience things very differently from one another. But we still go through experiences nonetheless. We all have very fond memories, some good, some bad. And a lot of these experiences allow us to cherish memories much more closely and allow us to grow as individuals. There's no denying that. But there's something to be said, especially in this day and age, where I've seen it and I've experienced this, suffering with this crippling nostalgia of the world, of what was and what I thought would be. I have found myself having a hard time of letting go of the past. And if there's anything that I've learned in the last few years about myself and about life, is that the sooner you're able to let go, the better off you will be. Because life, unfortunately, is all about letting go. We're not here forever. And there's one quote from Iron Man 2 that always makes me chuckle, but is very true.
Hey man, don't get too attached to things. Learn to let go.
And it's this quote that I find really stands out the most, even though it's supposed to be, a comical moment in the movie, but in reality it's very true. Learn to let go. Don't hold on to things because we can't. Everything in life has its time. And I feel like as humans, we tend to think that we're invincible. And I think that comes down to the fact that our days feel the same almost every single day. We wake up, we do our routine, we go to our jobs, we pay our bills, we, our taxes, and help our neighbors take out their garbage. I don't know. There's a certain rule book in life. And I find that for us we have a hard time looking at life and saying that this is the one shot that we get, because not all of us wake up thinking like that, which is why a lot of people have said when they're towards the end of their life that I wish I could have gone back and have done things differently if I had the time, or if I did have the time, I'd do this instead of that. And there's a lot of life lessons that come from older individuals, a lot of wisdom, and we don't know what we don't know. But the one thing that I have found myself struggling with the most, especially I would say a few years back, was letting go. I was always living in the past. I found myself always, I was never living in the moment. I was never just present. I was always thinking about what's to come and what will be. And one of my best friends would always say to me, like, you're in the days right now, and one day you'll see, wow, what was I doing? Those were the days. And only when those days have passed do I now realize that he's right. But it's not only in those types of moments, but it's also that life is a lesson, and life, in my opinion, its lesson is to learn to let go, to cherish everything that comes your way, good or bad. And not everything is meant to be a lesson. Not everything is meant to be a learning experience. It is what it is. And I think that for us to be able to let go and accept what is allows us to continue through life. I don't want to say easier, but it makes things much more palpable, I suppose. When I was a kid, I used to be I'm so different. I've changed so much in the last 10 years. I've lost people. I've lost family members that I thought would always be here, and they're not here anymore. And when you experience that and you wish you could talk to them, I'm still here. I'm still me. My surroundings are still mine. The thoughts and memories are still there, but the person isn't there anymore. And that can go in any way. That could be whether it's through a natural passing or someone deciding to leave, or you've decided to left and you no longer have communication with someone that you were once close with, whether it be a past relationship or a friend. And it's hard to let go of what was to now go off to what will be or what is. But as we get older, life starts taking things away. And for some folks that have a hard time with that, especially someone like myself who did have a hard time with that, and some days, I'm not going to admit that I'm 100% with this, that I catch myself being like, oh man, I wish this, I wish that. And then I catch myself in that endless loop, that endless cycle. And then I get sad because I start thinking about what was, but there's nothing that I can do about it. And I think the sooner that we accept what is, the better we will be. Take it for what it is. And I know that's easier said than done. I'm not in your shoes. I don't know what it is that you're going through. But if you're able to just take a moment and understand yourself and the situation that you find yourself in and what it is that you're feeling, and put words to it and come to terms that this is what it is, I think it will allow you to make peace with it. And we're not here forever. we just aren't. We're all going to the same place. All of us. You, me, your neighbors. None of us are making it out of this alive, unfortunately. But I think we forget that in 100 years, none of this is going to matter. And if we're constantly dwelling on what has been and not what will be, it will hold us back. And now, I'm not saying that your past shouldn't, like, there's a reason why we have a rear view mirror in our cars, right? If you're constantly looking in the rear view mirror, you're going to get in an accident with what's in front of you if you're always looking back. So, in a way, the past should be not a reflection of you, but a way for you to assess and be able to say, hey, what are some great things that have come in my life? How can I learn from those things? What are some people that, made me who I am today? And I'm grateful for them. And if there's a message that has to be said from this video, if there's any message at all, it's to be grateful for where we are and where we are going, and to not to take anything for granted. Because we only get one shot. This is it. No do-overs. And I really strongly believe the majority of us go through life thinking that we're invincible. And we're just simply not. I think we can look back at memories and experiences and people fondly, but we shouldn't let those types of things dictate or control us. Because I've had that. I've had that crippling experience. I found myself many times dwelling and thinking to myself, this sucks. I don't want to be here. I wish things were different. I wish it was like when I was younger. Trust me, I miss it. I really do. I miss being a kid. I had a great childhood, and I'm grateful for that. Not many people do, and I'm grateful. I had two brothers, and sure, we didn't get along, but I can close my eyes and experience it like it was yesterday. And I miss the 90s and my version of the world. Your version of the past might look very different. Maybe it was good, maybe it was bad. I don't know. But sometimes you can find a lot of good in bad experiences, and vice versa. But we need to learn to let it go and look back at it fondly and know that we're in this moment right now, and we have to live it. We have to be here in the moment fully. Or one day we're going to wake up and we're going to be like, wow, I wish I was more present when I needed it the most, or needed to be the most, rather. And I'm still learning to do this. And I'm not saying that I have all of this figured out, because I don't. The life is but an experience. I think we can still feel joy and connection and beauty even when we're trying to let go of things. And we're human. We're not ever going to be perfect. We have our flaws. And, we have our flaws. And I think a lot of us, unfortunately, we're not taught how to grieve and accept or soften the blow to a lot of things from our past as we should when we're younger. Because when we're young, we're just told that, go do, and life will just happen. Well, life is happening, all right, whether you like it or not. But I don't know. I just find that when we're younger, it's just kind of, there's this, ignorance. And I think maybe that's what a lot of us are fond of. We're fond of being ignorant of the world not being the same anymore, and it's changing, and we don't want it to change. And no one prepares you for this. And nothing can. Nothing can. I think about the days like I lost my grandmother a few years back. I lost my grandmother, my dad's mom, my other grandmother last year, and lost my grandfather in 2008. I have another grandfather who's slowly fading due to dementia. My parents are getting older. I'm getting older. Sometimes I look at myself in the mirror and yeah, I'm still young, but I see wrinkles. I see, no hair. Still getting pimples though. But it it's like I now know why my grandmother used to say she feels like her 30-year-old self, but in an old vessel. I get where she's coming from because I'm 33, but I still feel like my 20-year-old self deep down inside. But I am aging and everything around me is changing. My parents are getting older and they too one day will pass. I will pass. And all of this is just temporary. And that's why I think it's so important to learn to let go and to accept what will be, will be. And along that path of us letting go, yeah, we'll lose memories and versions of ourselves along the way, but we will find our true self in the path that lies ahead. There's no denying it. There's no other way. It is what it is. And I find there's something special about that. And that's why there's so many people I've heard that say that's why every day should be a blessing and that every day should feel special because you only get a certain amount of time. You are the youngest you will be today. Ever. And, as I'm recording this, it's 12:50 a.m. And tomorrow I'll be older, you know? Yesterday I was as young as I will be. When you really put it in that micro level, instead of on a macro level, which a lot of us tend to do, we tend to think on the macro. It puts things in a whole different perspective. Look, I can keep going on about this. I think to just wrap up, I think that, happiness isn't about holding on. Peace comes from letting go and accepting. Accepting you, accepting your past, and working towards what your future will be. And also being accepting of that. That's it for today. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this subject about some things that you found yourself having a hard time letting go of, and what have you done to try to mitigate that? Whether that be a relationship, a friendship, a loved one, a pet, and I've had my fair share. I'd love to hear. Let me know. But thanks for checking out this video again. Appreciate you as always. Catch you in the next one. Take care, guys.